Hi guys, this is Jackie Cooper from JCooperTravels, and today I am so excited to have a really great friend of mine, Dee. He's actually from the Maryland area, but he's down in Florida right now, and he has done such great things in media broadcast, and now he's in the voiceover area. So Dee, I want to just thank you so much for being on the podcast. And I would just like you to share a little bit about your story because you've done so much in such a small amount of time.
Well, thank you, Jackie, first of all, for having me on the show. This is awesome to be here. And the Maryland connection is great. And so hi to everyone back in Baltimore and Central Maryland. Hopefully you're surviving the crazy heat wave that I've heard so much about via my friends and family. And it's just great to be here. And basically, you know, a big piece of me would not exist without the 19 plus years I spent in Maryland. And that's kind of how I got my start in broadcasting with WTMD 89.7 out of Towson University, which is where I actually graduated from and where I began the first phase of my radio career. Just doing stuff at Towson for fun on the old XTSR online station. And then when WTMD was going big time, where they were basically getting involved to be an NPR affiliate, and Steve Yasko, the old GM there, recruited me, said, hey, how would you like the job in radio for real? So 9 months of volunteering, helping build that thing from the ground up. And I'm happy to say they are still thriving. I think they just finished, it was their 17th anniversary or something like that. So I would imagine there's probably some folks out in Maryland who still listen to TMD. Then I went over to 98 Rock and WBAL, which was a huge step in the right direction. And still very grateful for everybody on TV Hill. You know, I miss that place a lot in a lot of ways, but radio's changed. It just became a very different animal. And I just saw the writing on the wall in 2014 after, so at that point, it'd been 14 years between doing radio stuff in Baltimore, and parted ways. And then I was like, you know, a lot of people would say, when are you going to get a real job, Dee? Because, you know, it didn't matter how much great money I was making, and I was a part of the community and did all this great charitable stuff and heavily involved with animal rescue, firefighters, police, inner city youth, whatever, because we were very, very deep in the community and doing all kinds of stuff. But, you know, it was like, okay, I know this industry is changing. I don't know if there's a future in it, at least not the way I wanted it to be as an on-air personality and a producer and such. And so I was doing insurance, working with Bankers Life and Casualty, and then working for a debt consolidation company, helping people beat down their debt, and just trying to find my next phase in life, really, because broadcasting, journalism was always kind of the plan. And then when I saw that, you know what, I'm getting closer to 40, and that makes me kind of a dinosaur in this industry too. So voiceover was a natural transition because it was something I'd done for a long time as part of my job. I had a lot of clients that would hear the stuff I did both regionally and nationally in radio and said, we'd like to hire that guy to do our commercials and things like that. So I always knew that you could make a career out of it. I had no idea how difficult it would be, though. And that it actually, I really thought like, hey, I'll just sign up for some of these audition sites, and there's a bunch of auditions that come through, and I'll just record these auditions and I'll be rolling in the dough. No, very humbling. Even though I'd spent, you know, at that point more than half my life behind a mic, that's not how it works. And a lot of training, a lot of coaching, learning the engineering side of things to build a proper studio, and just kind of marketing and sales. That's what it's all about, and building a brand. And that's what I have now is Tattoo BO LLC. And it's been growing ever since, even in the midst of this pandemic. So thank you to all my clients, to everyone who supported me, to anybody that's given me any bit of advice or just, you know, giving me a like or a thumbs up on any platform. You know, it's great to keep busy when a lot of people are struggling. And
what kind of clients do you have?
So right now I just actually booked in my 52nd country. So in 52 countries, Antarctica, you're the only continent I'm not on, so not sure that's ever going to happen, but probably be more likely to get a gig in Mars than Antarctica, but or sooner. But it's a lot of commercial work. You know, most people think of commercial work when they think of voiceover, but there's so much more to it. E-learning. Jackie, you've been an educator. You know that now more than ever, the cliched saying, believe me, I've recorded that line over and over and over again. But yeah, it's very important because we have to be keeping people safe and doing the distance thing. So we have the technology, but how do we implement it to, help educate our kids and keep the process going as we adapt? E-learning has already been a pretty big thing in a lot of parts of the world, including the US. And now it's just growing exponentially. So that's one of those things. It's not the glamorous side of voiceover, but I truly feel it's one of the more important sides of it. Simple things going back to when I was actually working at Towson, and Towson University had me do like their whole IVR phone system. So I became like the voice of Towson University. That's the kind of job that comes up a lot in my line of work, So commercials, naturally, I've been doing radio and some TV stuff. And then with the internet, so many people doing product videos, we launched a new app. We need somebody to explain it. I think most people these days are aware of explainer videos. That's its own genre, and do a ton of that stuff. And character work, a lot of video game stuff and animation. Sometimes it's independent, sometimes it's big. And, you just kind of build a reputation, build your brand. And then, maybe one day I'll be doing a Disney Pixar movie or something. Who knows? I mean, that's anybody that's gotten to that point, they started somewhere. And I got to say that would be ideal down the road,
So I see you have different equipment behind you. When someone gets started in the field, do they have to have a lot of technical equipment, or how difficult is it to get started like that?
Well, that's the thing, right? Because now it's become a saturated market. It's because I think a lot of people sell the dream, and there's a lot of folks out there like, if you just Google voiceover, you'll find 50 people right away who'll be like, take my class and you'll be making six figures or whatever it is in no time. It's like, no, it's really not like that. First of all, equipment does make a difference once you get to a certain point, you can't, some people are still using the microphones that came with their computer. You can hear the difference in the sound quality. I mean, just even a lot of people will use their phones. If I record something on my phone, granted, the technology has improved so much with, these smartphones, but it's not going to play well for a big agency or when you're getting to that next level. So I definitely think you can make money and build up and then kind of get your 10,000 hours of practice, so to speak, by doing it on a smaller level, because there are going to be clients out there. And that's one of the things that I want to stress to people. There are industry folks who will kind of degrade you for just trying to make your way, but you have to start somewhere. And so there is a need for the small tier client that doesn't have the big budget. Not everybody can afford to spend $10,000 to pay you for voicing a 30-second commercial, and it's crazy to think that that's really still the case. There are people who will make, I've gotten 4 figures for recording one sentence before. It's insane, right? When you think about it, like from a outside perspective, it's like, what? That's the attraction, I think, where people think, oh wow, yeah, I want to get into that because I can make a bunch of money. But and you can, it just takes time. You have to build it like any other business.
Do you get residuals, or is it just a flat fee? How does that work?
Some clients will, residuals aren't as common as they used to be, but they still exist. And usually more and more clients are going to the flat fee. And I think part of the reason being is we just don't know. I guess if it's Coke or Pepsi or McDonald's, they can take that gamble, But if you're a mid-tier business, an upstart company, can you afford to do that? And the fact of the matter is, you can find people who are capable that will do it for less. Mm-hmm. So, that's kind of the back and forth. I go, because I deal with a lot of folks who are up and coming and try to help people, because I know for myself, I was very lucky to have some amazing talents, not just in the coaching realm, like people I hired, but also just people who spent the time chatting with me. I'd bother them on LinkedIn or Instagram, sending like, hey, I have a question. I was wondering if you get some time, could you please? And a lot of these people are great about doing that. So now that I've kind of established myself in this business, I try to give back as best I can. And, there's no such thing as a stupid question, because if you don't know, you don't know. And there's also a lot of, we live in the information age, but let's face it, probably 80% of the information out there on any subject is not that reliable. So the biggest thing I would tell anybody coming into this industry is just to vet the people you're going to work with, the people you're going to surround yourself with that will help you advance your career. But as far as equipment goes, you can get started for a couple $100. I mean, most people usually have a computer. You can get a fairly decent mic for around $100. I would stay away from USB mics, and that's another controversial subject, because a lot of people say, well, now there's better USB mics, but it's like, well, it's also one of those things where there's certain industry standards that you're better off just putting that money towards an actual XLR mic and getting a proper audio interface. But all those things, I mean, Scarlett's one of those companies that does a lot of great audio equipment at a very, very comfortable price point for people to get started. And that way, because I've seen a lot of people will do this, they invest all the money first into the equipment, and then they don't do the other stuff, and they quit after a few months. So coaching, training, just learning how the industry works, all that stuff before you make the big investments. And you can always just build as you go.
Do you remember your first client?
This is the thing. I believe Towson University was technically my first client.
Got it.
So that was, when they said, oh, we're going to have you voice everything. So whenever you called good old TU, it was, hey, this is Towson University bursar's office, blah, 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 press one for,
It's true.
that whole thing. And initially, I remember the station was just like, oh, yeah, they want you to do this. And I was like, well, how much are you getting paid? And they were like, well, they thought that maybe you'd volunteer it. And I was like, but if they were hiring somebody, wouldn't they pay them for this? And it's professional service. And, it's a university. They have money. They got $45,000 out of me.
Exactly. Yeah.
I think they can afford to give me a little something back for it. So that was technically, if I remember correctly, that was technically my first paid gig.
Very cool.
So that was in 99, 2000, something like that.
So you mentioned that your voice is in almost every country. I know you've also traveled a lot. Where was a favorite place that you've traveled, and where's somewhere that you'd like to go?
Favorite place I've traveled. Okay, so I've been, I would say this is the one that, it's one I'll always remember. And because a lot of people always, it's beaches or mountains or something, kind of very scenic or whatever, but you would never think of this. Kyoto, Japan.
Wow.
Not Tokyo. I've been to Tokyo. Tokyo is amazing, but it's like, I mean, it's New York on like energy drinks. It's insane. Like, if you've never been to Tokyo, just imagine New York, but like even faster paced, busier, louder. Kyoto, complete opposite. It's a very just beautiful countryside of Japan, and just all the different the temples and things like that. It's just, there's something about the energy in that town that just stuck with me forever. Where I was just like, I feel like if you wanted to be completely at peace, that seems like a place to kind of get yourself centered.
Sounds magical.
Yeah. And, but hey, give me a good beach. It's one of the reasons why my wife and I moved to Florida. So, we're happy to be near some of the top beaches in the U.S. A short drive away that we can't go to right now.
Okay. It's all temporary. So when we do get to start traveling, what's your next trip, do you think?
Next trip, DR is probably, Dominican Republic is probably on the list, because we've gotten there before and we really like it. And it's fairly short. I mean, it's like a 45-minute flight from St. Petersburg, where we are. As far as where I'd love to go that I've never been, Dubai. It fascinates me. I kind of see some of the ritzier side of that. And I'm like, I never really had like a truly pampered vacation, and something that I wouldn't have probably appreciated when I was younger, but like now at this point in my life, like, yeah, I would love to just be treated like royalty, which seems to be every travel video or story I've heard from people who've gone there. It's like, yeah, if you can afford it, do it. It's amazing, but you might not ever go back to normal life feeling the same. I
We'll,
would
we'll
like to.
definitely we'll have to check out the prices on I Go for Less because I think that there's some really deep discounts there. And Dubai is a place that's on my bucket list too, for sure. For sure.
Now, what is it about Dubai that caught your attention?
I have friends that are over there. So
Really?
they keep saying, come on over. And I keep saying I will. And every time I take another trip, it's not there. And they keep saying, while we're here, you need to come. So
Yeah,
it's
I would think that. Oh, wow. Yeah, I've never heard anybody say they had a bad time.
no,
Like
not at all.
stories about, a lot of places you can travel. People, you'll always find the, oh man, we got sick or sunburn or it's this or there's something. I've never heard a single person say disastrous trip to Dubai. That
Nope.
sentence has never been read or come across my face ever or in my
That's
ears.
true. So everyone, I want to thank you guys for listening because one of the really cool things that Dee has created is the 7 Truths of a Career in Voiceover. So when you reach back out to me, I'll be able to send that PDF to you, especially if you're interested in a career in voiceover. There's, as Dee has mentioned, there's some tips and things that you do need to know in order to be successful, as well as to kind of navigate the proper path. Any last minute ideas or seeds of wisdom that you want to share with those that are listening?
Yeah, I just want to follow up on the 7 tips there, the 7 truths. It's one of those things I put together because it's like a lot of things that most people won't tell you, but these are things like I think everybody should know and then decide, do I really want to pursue this? Because it is work. Um, you know, but hey, it sure beats working. I've been working remotely for so many years. So when this transition happened with the pandemic, I was kind of right at home. Uh, you know, so it's wonderful. You can make good money and have that freedom, and the dream is attainable. And I truly believe there is going to be more work in the future than there are voice talents. So if you get your stuff together, get in while the getting's good. 2-3 years from now, you could be truly making a nice career out of this.
Well, I appreciate that that information, and thank you everyone for listening. Stay tuned for other episodes, and be sure to reach out to me so I can get you the 7 Truths of a Career in Voiceover. Thank you so much. Have a great day.